Hey everyone, welcome to the Gaming X. Today we're taking a look at our review for Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition on the Nintendo Switch. Now this is a port from the Wii U, but does this one do enough to justify its full price tag, or should you hold off? Well, grab a seat, hit that subscribe button, like the video and comment below, and let's jump in and find out. So Hyrule Warriors arrives and it's the latest in a line of Wii U releases, especially over the last couple of months. We've had Donkey Kong, we had Bayonetta 2, and I've got to say with both of those titles I was really impressed. Now while they didn't change too much, they really honestly didn't need to. They were good looking games with a solid foundation. They simply went unplayed on the Wii U platform, and that just comes down to the low adoption of that console. What we got on the Switch was we got all of the added DLC in there, we got improved graphics, improved frame rates. It's minor, but it was enough because of how high quality those games were. Now, if I throw Hyrule Warriors into the mix, I've got to say, from a gameplay point of view and going back to the Wii U, it's easily probably the weakest of these titles. This was actually the first time I was nervous about paying full retail for an older title. So let's go take a look at what's changed and if it's going to be worth you double dipping if you already own this on the Wii U. So briefly, let's talk about gameplay for those that don't know. Hyrule Warriors, it's Dynasty Warriors with the Zelda skin. Now what this means is you can expect to be hacking and slashing your way through huge numbers of enemies. Now what a typical session of Hyrule Warriors boils down to is essentially attacking enemy hideouts and defeating the leader of that location. You'll then gain possession of this base and this will allow you to produce allies. Now occasionally you'll also find some side missions and you'll also need to help defend these locations. And well, that's about it. When it comes to gameplay, characters they have a light and heavy attack alongside a special attack, and you also get a nice selection of characters, I will say that, to work with. There's 29 in fact, ranging from Link and Impa all the way through to Folga and Skull Kid. Then your character is going to find items, weaponry and some customization options which are upgradable throughout, and it just gives a small amount of variety to the gameplay. Now if you haven't noticed already from the footage, Hyrule Warriors' biggest issue is, well, repetition. When I played this on the Wii U originally, I was playing in small bite-sized chunks, but here for the review, when I had to do long drawn out sessions, it really did start to wear on me, and that's really my warning here. It's not a Zelda game, it's a Dynasty Warriors title with a few of your favourite characters plugged in there. When it comes to the gameplay and the differences from the Wii U original to this new Switch one, well, the main difference I really noted was the 60 frames per second locked. It was fantastically smooth throughout in comparison to the 30 FPS found in the Wii U original. It really made a huge difference to the fluidity of the gameplay, and for that it's definitely a welcome change. Having them smooth visuals, it just further reinforced what a badass you do feel like in this game, and really how over the top the action is. It definitely added to the gameplay and, to me personally, my enjoyment. Okay, so graphics, and I don't want to spend too long on this. I will say this now, it's no Breath of the Wild, that's for sure. When it comes to recent Wii U releases in the graphical department at least, I would say this one is the weakest when compared to Bayonetta and Donkey Kong. Characters are of course going to be instantly recognisable for Zelda fans out there. As I said before, there's that huge selection here for them. You also get some decent sized maps and locations to battle through, and some really nice boss battles especially. There's not much in the way of storyline here, to be honest, but it does enough just to basically allow you to see every big enemy Link has ever faced. Now the original version of this game, when it came to the colours, it had quite a dark tone to it with grey skies and clouds, and just everything was very subdued and dull. One change I really like is this has been removed for the Switch release, where those grey skies have now been replaced with blue sunny days. Honestly, what it is just purely cosmetic. I did prefer the tone it brings to the title. It's light-hearted fare and it benefits from a brighter colour palette to match all the flash of the battles. Unfortunately, while it's improved from the Wii U original though, popping is still apparent and it can be seen throughout. I will give it this, the draw distance is much better and you're going to see a ton more enemies on screen. In fact, I actually forgive the popping of the enemies themselves, that's just the nature of this style of game. But the environmental popping, that is a problem. I noticed hills, buildings and battlefield objects all popping in on multiple occasions, and as I say, while it is an improvement on the original, it's far from perfect. So the final piece, sound and music, and well, nothing at all really changed here, and it's understandable. What we get here is a huge amount of weaponry effects, some great moments for those special attacks, and a nice soundtrack which of course pulls from the Zelda universe. These tracks, some of them are actually directly ripped and some of them are influenced, but they all work well based within this kind of hybrid Dynasty Warriors Zelda world. I really enjoyed the soundtrack personally. It's one that I wouldn't put up there with a typical, quality of a Zelda game, but it does more than enough. So the final verdict on Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition is just that. It's a definitive edition of an old game, not a remaster or new build, so along comes the same problems. Yes, we do see improvements. The colours here, just the colour palette itself, it's much nicer. It supports the overall tone of the game. The 60 FPS, it makes a huge difference to the gameplay. And then the graphics overall, they're sharper and they're more defined. Unfortunately, however, though, texture detail is still really low. Popping, while better, is clearly still here, and the game is essentially, as I've said, just repetition over and over again. If you played the game before on the Wii U, I honestly don't believe this one's worth picking up. It's maybe for absolute hardcore Zelda fans out there, but that's about it. When it comes to the content, it's basically a combination of the 3DS and the Wii U version, so actual new content is very light. If you only played this on the Wii U, you're essentially getting a few extra adventure maps, a slightly built out fairy mode, and you'll also find now you can switch characters mid-battle, which is a nice touch pulled straight from Fire Emblem Warriors, but it's nowhere near enough to draw you back in and play through this game again. Then for those that didn't experience this on the Wii U, then I actually can recommend this. It's definitely dumb, it's definitely fun in small bite-sized chunks, and it definitely doesn't make a good use of the license when it comes to story, because really there's very little to talk about here. It's just, as I said, that excuse to bring back some of the most memorable Zelda characters, but this is probably the most badass you will ever feel playing as some of these characters. You're completely overpowered, and Dynasty Warriors is very good at doing that, giving you a sense of power and destruction. So for those, yes, I would go out and I would pick this one up. My final note before we get into the score, when it comes to the Dynasty Warriors format, this, as I said, it's not bad at all, but unfortunately we already have a better version of this game on the Switch in the form of Fire Emblem Warriors, a fantastic game which actually improves on Hyrule Warriors almost across the board. If you're willing to sacrifice the Zelda characters, then I would strongly suggest for those returning players and new players to the series to start there. Fire Emblem Warriors is a complete upgrade. The Gaming X awards Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition a decent 7 out of 10. It's fun, it's just nothing amazing, and as I said, we've got much better on the system already. Thanks so much for watching, we truly do appreciate it. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Is this one you're going to be picking up? Or is this maybe one you're waiting on? Or are you even going to go that Fire Emblem route? Well, hit subscribe for all of our latest gaming news and reviews, and we'll see you on the next Gaming X.